Apparently, this is what it takes to document an old abandoned rail line. The funny thing is, I had no idea this line existed until recently. Well, here we go. My mission today is to show you a section of the old D&H Railroad, Delaware and Hudson. This is a section I found earlier this year and is responsible for the hauling of anthracite coal. Does this line hold any secrets? Is there any ruins left today? I'm hoping to answer some of those questions for you. In order to better document this section and to make it easier for you following along, I will be giving updates of my location on the Railguide app using the GPS on my phone, at the same time showing you what the old rail line looks like today. Also, a little bit later, I'll be telling you more about my mode of transportation today. But if you're ready, then come along with me. Before we start moving, let me lay out the game plan for this adventure. So, we are standing on the old D&H right now. It may not look like it, but this at one time was a rail line hauling coal trains. So this is basically our ending point. We can't go any further, although the rail line did. So according to the Railguide app, we're on the outskirts right now of Aylesworth Park. And the image you're seeing is kind of the Google Maps, Google Earth image. And the next image is going to show the rail line location itself. So you can see it comes through the woods, wraps around the park itself, the green section at the body of water, and would have continued across what is now today Route 6. And that's basically where we are starting right now, just on the outskirts of the park boundary. And we're going to be going the other direction towards what is known as Meredith Street. So this is the direction we're going to be going, following the old rail line. It's going to head towards Meredith Street, which is near Carbondale. And there would have crossed over Route 6. We are going to reach a stopping point there. We won't be able to cross over, obviously, because the highway's there now. But that's where we're going to be ending. So we're going to be starting near Aylesworth, going through the woods, following the old rail bed, and stopping near Meredith Street. Now, if this line was to continue in this direction, if we were to keep going today, it would have crossed Route 6 and joined into a rail yard. And that rail yard had a few different customers there. Not only D&H, Delaware, and Hudson, but OCNS, which is Ontario, Carbondale, and Scranton. There was also DL for a period of time, Delaware, Lackawanna, and also NYONW, New York, Ontario, and Western, which is today the rail trail that runs through the area. In easier terms, Aylesworth Park area is down there. This way would have crossed over Route 6 into the rail yard. This is the way we're going today. And I can tell you the trail is not easy to navigate. It's very walkable, obviously, but there's a lot of down trees like we see here. We've also received incredible amounts of rain over the last month and a half, close to 2 months maybe. It has been a really soggy, saturated spring. Today being the first day of summer, it thunderstormed yesterday. So we're going to come across a lot of puddles, a lot of mud. But the good thing is that my mode of transportation is a dual motor scooter. So although I can't take it through everything, we will be able to cross some small limbs. And there's even going to be some water crossings, which we're going to put that to the test too as well. I'm going to get my other camera mounted up on me so you guys get a first-person perspective. And we're going to head in that direction, document this section of the former Delaware and Hudson Railroad. I'm not sure if it's going to come through on camera, but there's a noise that I hear. I've heard it since I arrived here. And I thought I was going towards it, but now that I came from the area I thought I was coming from, it sounds farther away. So I'm just going to stay quiet for a moment. I want you to listen. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's a type of insects, equipment. I don't know. It's just a constant hum or noise that's going on in the background. So hopefully it'll pick it up. I may even raise the audio levels during editing, but just take a listen. If you have an idea what that noise is, let me know in the comments section. So I'm going to show you on Railguide app where I'm currently starting. And you'll be able to follow along at home if you wish to. And I'm also using a new camera. This will allow me to alter the point of view during editing, so you should be able to see everything that you need to see. It won't be pointed down too far low or too high, because I could control that during editing. So let me know if you enjoy the new point of view for something like this. We're gonna go around some water hazards here. Now, so far, there's nothing left behind as far as rails, ties, spikes, anything of the sorts. I don't know if there will be further down. As of right now, at this moment, there's not. But we at least know 100% we are on the former rail line rail bed. So we're gonna get around these obstacles here, and then we'll make some more headway further down. Oh, one thing we got over here is some coal on the ground. Chunks of anthracite. Nice shiny stuff. We got a little bit more of a cleared section here. Now to my left is going to be Aylesworth Park. To the right is woods, and eventually I think some game lands and an old reservoir that I documented a year or two ago as well. So those of you from the area definitely know what's around here. Big muddy obstacle here. I'm not going to attempt to go through that, nor do I want to step in it either. All right, so now here's a more actively used trail. You can see it is pretty worn down. ATVs, bikers, walkers. It's a well-used trail. And just to kind of give you another update, just to show you that we are still on the trail itself, I'm going to pull up the rail guide app one more time here. Yep, we are still 100% on it. We will be going north towards Meredith Street there. So I'm going to screenshot this just to show you. I'll add it to the video. And this will show that even though the trail itself has changed, it is still the proper trail that we want to be on. Ideally, I would have liked to come during a dry spell. This trail will be nice and dry and a bit more easier to navigate, but Mother Nature has not cooperated in the least over the past month or two. So we're just gonna have to make do with what we're facing, take it a step at a time here. But so far, so good. And not a trail you can go fast on, but it's definitely a rideable trail. Okay, elevation change here. We're going downhill, and then it's gonna rise up on the other side. So we're gonna see how we can manage this. Thankfully I have knobby tires, so able to get through this so far without an issue. Yeah, I can go through this and we'll climb up, and looks like there may be a split up there on the trail. I'm pretty sure the rail line's gonna be going straight or towards the left, but I'll just confirm that once we're up there. But let's go through the water here. Well, we made it. This thing's a beast. All right, trail to the right. This trail continues. Now again, what you're seeing is not maybe 100% the rail line. Trains typically don't make these sharp curves like this, these S curves. They're more gradual. So it would have been a more gradual line, but this is how the trail looks today. But we're still 100% following it as I show you here. We just crossed that little tiny tributary which shows up on the map, and we are right there. So looks like we're gonna have another water hazard to cross further down, and we'll deal with that when we get there. But so far we're staying right on the path of the old rail line. Oh boy, got some big water hazards here. Oh. They're so dark and murky too, I can't even see how deep they are. Well, this is a dual motor scooter. And I was told by the manufacturer that this is highly water resistant, nearly waterproof. And if we do get stuck, I'm gonna be stepping in this mucky, nasty stuff, but that's all part of the experience, I guess. So we're gonna try to go through this. I really don't want to walk around through the woods and make a detour. I want to follow the rail line, and that means going through this nasty stuff here. So I don't want to go too slow or too fast, but we're going to try. Okay, so far so good. This one's definitely deeper. Still making it. I'm really surprised, actually. And this is our biggest one yet. Ooh, just lost my footing there. This is our biggest one yet. I think I'm going to set up my other camera to give you a perspective to show you what it's like going through here, because this is a big, long one. I've never done this before on a scooter, and if something does go wrong, I want to have it documented, and also it'll make for some good footage. All right, let's do this. Oh, hit a rock. This stuff stinks like sulfur so bad. It's all rotting, decaying material. I couldn't see the bottom, obviously, and if I didn't hit that rock, I think I could have made it all the way through. The scooter didn't short out or cut out. I still have power, so I'm impressed with that. I'm dirty, it stinks, but let's keep going. Now, although we crossed that water hazard, that's obviously not on the map. This is just a flooded section of trail. I have to say though, this trail section is a bit worse than I was expecting. I knew there's gonna be some wet sections, but it's about 80 to 85% wet. So if you do come even walking here, plan and dress accordingly, because it's really wet. And a lot of this material stinks as well, especially stirring it up. You can obviously outskirt around the edge, but just know this is what it's like right now until we get a nice long dry spell. Also doesn't get a ton of sunlight back here with the tree canopy, so it's going to take a good while to dry up and harden up. Have another hazard area here, a big down tree. I think I'm going to walk the scooter through here, get past the tree, and we'll hop on and pick up down there. We're also on a slope as well, which may not come through on camera because of the wide angle, but basically to my right it's going up, to my left going down. Okay, according to the map, this is not even on the map, although we're still on the D&H. So my position is going to be this way. Yes, this doesn't even show up as a tributary or a water source. That's further down. This is probably just runoff from the thunderstorm from yesterday. So I'm going to clean my leg off while we're here. It stinks. Good thing you don't have smell-o-vision. That feels good. Got it cleaned off. All right, let's continue on then. Boy, this trail, it's like one obstacle after another. Maybe an e-bike would have been a little bit better, but I did bring the scooter for a reason, because of the water hazards. And I want to really put it to the test, but I think an e-bike may prove a little bit more successful on this trail, because although this is doing it, it's not intended for these big logs and big rocks. Okay, now we have another really nice section here, so I'm gonna put a power assist 3 and we're gonna open it up a little bit, a little wheel spinach. Now this looks even more like an old rail line. Not only do we have a coal bed here, and when I say coal bed, it means it's all coal material, some dirt and rocks mixed in, but it's primarily a culm and silt. But we have almost like a rock cut area. So we just came around that bend and I passed some amazing patches of moss, or as many of you know, I like to call nature's carpet. Absolutely gorgeous, and it's dripping with water. You could probably put a bottle underneath there, collect it, and it'd be clean filtered water. Nice section of forest here too. Big tall trees. As I mentioned, it's going upwards to the right, down to the left. We are on a middle road right now as far as the terrain. The rail line is cutting right through it. So this was cut out. I wouldn't be surprised if they did have to cut away some of these rocks to make this line. And I don't know if this was a single or a double line coming through here. If I do find that out, I'll definitely share it with you. If not, if you have confirmation, let me know. I think it's a single line. This is a branch line, not a main line. So I think it was going from like the yard to crossing over by Meredith Street and going to other destinations. So I think this is just a single branch line from what I can make of it. But so far, it's not a great trail. Even if they were to make this into a rail trail, it would have to have a lot of work done to it with grading and water management for the ponding that collects and just making the ground firmer. But it's still a trail, it's still history, and we're still going to keep going. So onwards we go. Now I will tell you, I'll be the first to admit that I'm not wearing the appropriate gear for a scooter ride, especially a scooter of this caliber. I'm more or less dressed for the environment. So I'm not wearing a helmet because I'm going relatively slow speeds. And I'm also not wearing enclosed shoes because I know I'm getting my feet wet. So just keep in mind, this is not what you typically want to wear, but this is what I'm wearing based on the environment. And now we have a change here. Now I'm curious. This trail is dropping off significantly to the left here. And I know trains don't do steep grades. They'd have to do switchbacks. So I'm wondering, did it continue straight? Or was there maybe a type of bridge here? Or even raised up ground that was altered over time? Well, I'm gonna look that up on the app right now and we'll see if it did go straight or if it actually does curve down to the left. So where I am right here, according to the map, looks like it did curve to the left. So I'm thinking the land has been altered over time, or there may have been a small bridge, but it's dropping down a good level from where we are. It's a pretty steep drop in railroad terms, at least. So it definitely didn't go straight. Actually, hang on, let me see here. So if I zoom in, so it takes it away. Okay, no, actually, I'm incorrect. It didn't go down, it did go straight. So it went straight and then curved to the left, as we could see on the map here. And this is like a detour of the trail. So it's all grown in. We can't continue on the actual rail bed itself. We're gonna, I guess, bypass it. We'll probably pick back up with it. So I'm gonna get down here and see where we go from there. By the way, I'm still hearing that noise I mentioned earlier. It's not as loud here, but I still hear it. But we just came down that slope right there. Rail line would have continued up there. And we're now on another road or trail, which is really, really rocky. I'm going to have to try to stay to the outside sections of it where it's less rocky. And the line would have came out over there. So we should pick back up with it just up there. This does resemble more of a rail line again, so that's good news. We're back on the trail, back on the line, so to speak. You know, when the trail is nice like that, it's a breeze and fun to ride on, but then you hit all the other junk, really takes away the fun. A little dam right there. I underestimated the severity of rocks on this trail. According to the Rail Guide app, we're still on the rail line. We're still making good progress, heading in the proper direction. We just came from that direction. And I didn't realize it, but we're actually coming up upon a pretty familiar area, one that I showed in a few different videos, including the one earlier this year. That's actually somebody coming up here. There's somebody on a mountain bike. Yeah, there's something up here that we've passed by on a couple different videos. Yep, there they go. And I didn't realize that this was part of the rail line, so let me get up there and we'll take a look at it. I was just talking to that guy on the mountain bike. He came down from the reservoir that I documented previously. That's one of the videos that we covered in this area. But if you do pay close attention and have watched a lot of my videos, you probably do recognize this. This is that abandoned overturned car, which we have seen. Oh, there's jumping frogs here. Which we have seen on not only the video to that reservoir, but also my video back in this area earlier this year for a Google Maps find. We showed this in those videos. And I didn't realize at the time, but this is the rail line. It came right through here. Thankfully, I don't have to go through this. There is a detour around it, but this is my probably 4th or 5th time back here. And I made 2 or 3 videos that I can remember. And I honestly had no idea this was the old rail line. So it does make more sense now. But I just thought it was riding trails. But little did I know, a piece of railroad history came right through here. So we're going to go around it, continue on, and now I have a better idea where I am. There's a bigger water crossing up there, which I'm actually excited to go through because not only do I want to see if this will make it, I want to get it cleaned off a little bit as well as my feet. They get dirty again. So although it's a fun, messy adventure, it's still one that's serving a purpose of documenting history, and also seeing how this thing performs, which so far I am really impressed with. I haven't come across anything that can handle what this is handling so far, both the terrain, getting submerged, and the power and speed. But again, we'll talk more about that. I don't want to get into it right now. I do want to make some headway and get up there because not only is there a good water crossing, but I think there's some things left behind, whether from the old railroad and or mining days. So we'll check those out once we get up there. But also it's a really muggy day. Bugs aren't too bad as long as they don't stay in one area too long. But that sound I still hear. I don't know what it is. It's like constant white noise. It's not vehicles. It's not machinery. And we've heard it for probably close to a mile now. I just don't know what it is. It's kind of bizarre. And we're now here. It was like center town where there's all different intersections and trails. Gorgeous section of woods to the right, which we've seen before. There's also a box to the left for a generator, fire hydrant, flagpole. There's a whole bunch of things going on out here. But we do have something fun to navigate. And it's right here in front of us. We have a good water crossing, but there's more than just that going on, so let's take a look at it before we proceed on. Now, if you are coming through here and don't want to navigate the water crossing, well, you can come right where I am and send it and try to clear this. I'm sure it's probably been done before. Fire ring right there. I'm also looking off to the right upstream, and there is a bridge there, a little footbridge. So I think we'll take a walk up there, check that out. Has planks of wood going across it. But we're going to be continuing in this direction. Now, there looks like a big head wall there, or even like a dam wall or spillway. I remember seeing it before. I don't know why it's built. There's no water over here. It could have been different back in the day, but regardless, we are going to be going up there by it and past it. So right in front of us, though, we do have some metal that's crumpled up. There's also a pipe right here, which is part of it, which I think water's still flowing through it. So yeah, it's coming down there. There's rivets over there, and then empties right here. Then there's another, looks like a tank right there. There's also a corrugated pipe over there, a newer concrete pipe there. So let's get in the water and water feels great and it's nice and clear. You can see this section here is all riveted. And let's take a walk up and see if it's actually has water entering into it. And this is slippery. Wow. Kind of standing in shin deep water. It's just below my knees. So as I said, you could send it over this. But yeah, there's a blockage here. I think it was or is open, but you can see it's blocked up with trees and branches. We'll see on the other side if water is still flowing through it. But we know where this water is coming from because we have traced it in a previous video. And before we go behind me, let's proceed up here and check out this footbridge. This little guy just scared the crap out of me. He jumped right in front of me there. Must be Kermit's cousin. I was like, what the heck's jumping around? And he jumped right in front of me. So I'm wondering if this is maybe like an obstacle course. We did see that guy in the mountain bike coming through here. Looks like he's pretty experienced and familiar with the area. So I'm wondering if this is a obstacle they made. It appears to be. I actually have it together with ratchet straps holding the logs together. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what it is. A deep pocket here. Pretty sure that's what that is. It's an obstacle for mountain biking. And it's really well done. I'm impressed with it. Maybe on the way back we'll try to cross it on the scooter. Shouldn't be much of a problem. It's wide enough. But that's neat. There's actually a chair over there too. Alright, let's get back on to our mission of documenting the D&H because we definitely took a little detour here. But I can't help myself when it comes to water and little findings like that. It just kind of adds to the story and the environment of what you're going to encounter. That way we have a better understanding as to how the area was used in the past and how it's being used today. And that frog is still sitting there. Found himself a nice little sunny spot. Well, here's the other side of the pipe. And can you see inside of it? Yeah, and there's water in it. I don't know if it's just from being below the surface or if it's coming from the backside of it, but regardless, it is channeling water through it to some capacity. And this appears to be a large tank, almost like it would be like a fuel tank underground for a gas station. You can see where there'd be some caps on there to open up. Could have been fuel back in the day for the mining industry, for equipment. Could have been something completely unrelated, but it's big, it's banged up, been here for a long time. And that's just the culvert pipe over there that's rotted out, so. Interesting area. I'm thinking there would have been a bridge going across here for the railroad tracks. So it kind of makes sense that there is a little bit of a grade here. And then it would have picked up over there more higher up. So I think there would have been a small trestle back in the day, either that or it would have been a series of culvert pipes and the land was just built up above it. And then when the railroad days were done, they took it away, made it more natural. I really don't know which one it could have been. It could go either way. So let me know your thoughts as to what you think was back here. Was it a bridge or was it a culvert system and earth on top of it? I'm thinking maybe, based on the evidence, culvert systems, and the earth would have went on top of it. Water would have flowed underneath it because the rail line does continue up there, up a slight grade. But we need to pass this. And I know for a fact I'm not gonna be able to ride all the way through because there's some huge rocks here and they're also really slippery. So I'm gonna do my best to get as far as we can and then I'll just walk it the rest of the way and we will continue on. But I am excited and actually I'm not even nervous. I'm just excited to kind of take it through here, have a little bit of fun at the same time. I'll give you both side and onboard perspective views so you can enjoy it for yourself. All right, let's have a little bit of fun. This actually made it farther than I realized. Holy crap. Pedal assist 5 is no joke. Whew, that got deep. Well, the good news is, scooter's clean. I have to go back and get the camera. And just in case you're wondering, does it still work after doing that? Well, it is still powered on, still working. Unbelievable. I knew I brought that for good reason. All right, rail line continues up there. Let's keep moving. So here's that giant mound, what I said looks like an old spillway, but there's no water here. So I'm thinking maybe it was a switch or a spur coming off the rail line, because the rail line, if I understand correctly, does continue straight. And that noise is actually louder back here. Yeah, let me just look on the map and see. But if anything, it may have been a spur line or just an access road. That noise is so loud back here. Yeah, so we crossed the water hazard, and yeah, it continues straight. Now this is labeled as an old mining road as well, so that may have something to do with it. It's actually sharing the rail line, but then it kind of curves off and goes in different directions. But regardless, we're still on the rail line. That's our main objective. Now this trail, since it gets some sunlight here, it is much drier, much wider. And listen to that noise. What the heck is that? It's so bizarre. This is a really nice area. This is the section I remember from before. It's wide, it's flat, not a whole lot of rocks, pretty dry. Should be able to cover some ground a bit more quickly. I'm gonna bump this up to power assist 3, get a little bit more speed and power. And it just spins the tires. It's got so much torque and power. Oh yeah, this thing cruises. Oh yeah. I only went a fraction of what this thing can do. If I had the proper gearing, I would go a lot faster, but this thing is a blast. Figured we'd take a little break on the trail here to talk about how we got here. And that is with my pretty incredible mode of transportation. Now, if you do want to skip this portion, go to the timestamp on the screen. You can continue on with the regular video. But right now we're going to talk about the Eahora Tiger King dual motor electric scooter. And this is my first real world test of it, other than just kind of riding it around the neighborhood, getting a feel for it. This is probably the most extensive testing I've done on an e-product, like a scooter or a bike. And definitely the first, I will say, e-product, specifically a scooter, that can get fully submerged. Since I do cover a lot of different products and some of them have a lot of similarities, I always have a kind of notes on my phone here just to kind of glance at to make sure I'm sharing the correct and most up-to-date information. So what I can tell you about this is that this is powered by a 60 volt, 26.1 amp hour battery, which powers dual 1500 watt motors, which do peak out at 1700 watts. top speed, which I haven't even attempted to do, is over 45 miles an hour. And although I have reviewed a dual motor scooter previous to this one, this thing is like a whole different class of its own. Range is up to 60 miles. Realistically, probably 40, 45 under optimal conditions, operating under single motor, not a lot of hills. Does weigh in at 80 pounds, so it's heavier, but not super heavy. Has a decent payload capacity of 330 pounds. Rides on 11-inch knobby tires. Has hydraulic disc brakes, both front and back. And although I can't show you right now, I did film a clip. It has a really great lighting package. It not only has built-in bulbs in the front and in the back, but it has a light strip on both sides that you can actually customize through a lighting app. So you can have it do a light sequence where it changes colors, pulsates, flashes. You can also choose individual colors to stay on solid. So you have a whole variety of things to choose from for nighttime riding. Not only does it look really cool, but it's an added safety feature. You're gonna be more visible. Of course, it does have a brake light and headlight, horn, and even turn signals, because when you put the turn signals on, those bulbs in the front and back do blink or flash. So you have a lot of great lighting on this. Definitely intended for nighttime use with all the lighting. Even more intended for off-road use. The last scooter I reviewed was mainly a road scooter based on the road tires. This is geared for this type of stuff. This is made for this type of environment. So if you're looking to go on some amazing adventures that most other products can't handle, well, this one may be just for you. But there are a few more features I want to talk about and also show you the display area. So come on over here. So running across, we do have nice color matching grips here. They are lockable. Feel really good. Lots of buttons over here. So we got a lot of goodies going on. So we have dedicated headlight button, turn signals, which I'm going to show you in just a moment what I do like about that. Also your electronic horn, plus and minus for your power assist modes, power and mode button, display, and then your right hand thumb throttle. So in order to power this on, one of the features I absolutely love is you hit the button here and the screen does that. Well, it won't do anything else unless you have your NFC key card. That unlocks it, powers it on. So that's a great added security feature right there. So NFC key card or an actual key is always good in my book. So you have your power levels right here. Now this does start out, it's unique for this scooter that it starts out in pedal assist 1, but there's no power. By default, it starts there, but if you actually want to have the lowest power, you want to go to 0. When you go to 0, then you have power. So you have 0, 1 is basically like neutral, if you're thinking of like a motorcycle. Then 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 is the max output. Battery indicator, your trip, which we've done 3.2 miles, and you can also toggle. How's it going? The guy came through on a one wheel. So you can go through the mode here, get your mileage, odometer, all the different settings. But yeah, we've done 3.2 miles today, so further than I thought. Now when this is going, you know, it does show the power output. Now if you want to get to dual motor, because it's single motor by default, it's really simple. All you do is get the plus button and long press it. And it comes up there, 2 wheels, dual motor. So you don't have to go into any sub-menus, you don't have to do any certain button combinations. It's just long pressing the plus button for single and dual motor use, which you could do while you're riding. Now with the turn signals, when you turn them on, they actually illuminate. So although there's no audible signal, this lets you know that the turn signals are on. So it's a great little reminder. Then when you turn your headlight on, you do get your headlight symbol right there. Now you can actually ride this without the headlight and just have the lighting package on. To do that, all you do is long press the M button and that will turn on the lighting package. So the different colors come on. Right now I have them set to blue. So all your ground lights come on, including your little front lights there, ground lights. So you could have the headlight on, headlight off, separate from the ground lighting. I really like that. Here's your stem latch, so when the handlebars do fold down, latches right to there. Easy for picking it up, maneuvering it into your vehicle. It's got the kickstand obviously, and front and rear fenders, which is nice. And although this comes with a single charger, it has dual charging ports right here. So you can actually buy a separate charger and charge this up even faster. So although it does charge like a normal e-scooter, you could buy a secondary one, hook them both at the same time, and charge it in half the time. So that is something to consider, an option for you if you do want to get back on the road sooner than later and charge it up. So I do want to demonstrate a couple things before we do continue on. I do want to just show you the acceleration from a bystander's view. So I'm going to have you guys mount it on the tripod. I'll put in Power Assist 5 and just juice the throttle, and you'll see, I mean, it just rips through here. I'm not going to do a high-speed run just because I'm not prepared to do it. I'm dressed for the environment, not for the vehicle. So just trust me, it'll get up to speed in no time. It's a hill climber, it's a speed demon, it's an off-road machine. It is incredible. But I am thoroughly impressed that this thing can actually get wet. We're going to do that last before we get back, but let me show you how good this thing takes off. Now, I do want to mention this is definitely not intended for children or inexperienced riders. Now, you can ride this as a really tame scooter in single motor on a lower power assist level. Perfectly fine. But if you're not used to something this powerful or this capable, it could definitely be overwhelming or too much for you. So just keep that in mind. There's also one added feature I forgot to talk about, which we'll do in just a moment, but let me show you how this thing rips. It is incredible. Dual motor, Power Assist 5. Here we go. This thing is crazy fast. All right, wait here. I'm going to do a moderate speed run right by you guys, so just bear with me. Hopefully you can still hear me. I'm in Power Assist 4. Whew. I got up over 30 miles an hour in no time. That was scary fast for not being prepared. One other feature I forgot to mention before we do a really awesome demonstration is that this has regen braking. It's known as regenerative braking, which means when you're braking, especially if you're going down a long, steep hill, when you're using those brakes, it activates the motors to put some of that resistance back into the battery. So it's going to help give you a little bit extra range, a little bit of juice back into the battery. So if you're doing a lot of hills in your area, climbing them takes the power out. If you're coasting down, having the brakes activated, it's going to send some of that power from the motors back into the battery. That's an awesome feature to have. Now, this is where things got a little bit weird when this company reached out to me, because one of the conditions they said is that we want you to submerge the scooter. We want you to have completely underwater the motors and the deck. I'm like, are you serious? Like, that can't be possible, because anything I've ever reviewed has a water rating where it can get wet, but it either can't get submerged or have strong forces of water, like a power washer, hitting it, because it could potentially damage it. They said, no, we have faith in our product. We know that people are gonna want to go on extreme adventures. We want you to have the wheels and the decking below water and show that it's still gonna work and operate as it should. So right in front of you guys is a relatively deep pocket of water. When I say deep, it's relative compared to the rest. It's deep enough that it's going to submerge us. I'm going to ride the scooter right into it, stop there, and let it sit, and show you that it's still operating. It's going to be hard to believe, but I've already done it once. It should do it again, so be amazed at what this thing can do. We are underwater. Wheels are fully covered, deck's underwater. I still got power. I still got power to everything. It's working underwater. I've never had any product do this before, or a company tell me, we want you to do this. I am thoroughly impressed that this can handle these type of conditions. I would not put any of my personal things in the water like this, an e-bike or another scooter, unless the wheels weren't submerged. Going through a puddle, even a couple inches deep, is one thing. This is fully underwater. I mean, I'd be able to get it even deeper, and I'm pretty sure it would still work. Everything's still working. There's no errors, there's no flashing, there's no nothing. It's working as it should. How awesome is that? We're actually gonna leave it in the water. I just want to share with you a few pros and cons. The water's actually pushing. I gotta make sure it doesn't tip over though. I don't want to damage it. So, a couple pros and cons. The only con that I have, and this is really nitpicking, is that I feel this should have a larger capacity battery. I said the same thing for the previous scooter I reviewed. Dual motor scooters eat a lot of power, especially ones that put out the amount of watts that they do per motor. If you are gonna ride it in dual motor use, do a lot of hill climbing, or just wanna do some speed runs, the battery's gonna wear down significantly faster than it would on something with a single motor or a larger capacity battery. So the battery's not bad, but on the flip side, this has regen braking. So even though you're gonna eat up that battery, you can still slowly put a little bit of power back into it on downhill braking. For the pros though, well, where do I start? Namely, number one for me is the NFC key card. Having that as the added security feature that no one could just power down and go without having that, that's great, that's fantastic. The last scooter had a key, this has an NFC key card, but there's e-bikes I review that don't have any of that. So NFC key card, I love it. Regen braking, great addition as well. I think more products should have them, including e-bikes as well. I have one e-bike I reviewed, Engway Engine Pro, that has regen braking into it. When you're coasting downhill in pedal assist 1, the motors give you resistance, puts that power back into the batteries. This is, aside from the High Boy scooter, which is the little commuter scooter, this is the only other full-size off-road scooter that I've come across that has regen braking. Lastly, powerful motors and waterproof capabilities. I mean, I would not recommend anyone do this with your product unless you own this thing here. The fact that this is sitting here in water and still has power and working, it's just pretty remarkable and incredible. So I can't say enough good things about it. I think this pretty much spoke for itself. Well, as you can see, this is a pretty impressive scooter. I do want to thank the people over at Eahora for reaching out to me and giving me the opportunity to review, I would say, a one-of-a-kind scooter that could be fully submerged underwater and still operable. To get more details on the latest pricing, check the link down below. Otherwise, let's get back to our regular video. And I'm gonna make a stop up here, show you my progress on the Railguide app. We should be closing in towards Meredith Street pretty soon. Here's a nice shady spot here. This is a nice road to ride on. Yeah, so here we are, we're not far from Route 6 in Meredith Street. So we won't be able to go much further, but as we already learned, the line did continue. Looks like I would have joined up with something else, and then there's the yard. Just other side over there, much more train traffic than we have over here. Again, this is just a haulage line or a branch line, but about 95% of this we've been on the rail line, so that's good news. It's just disappointing that there's nothing left to see, but I just think I'm more fascinated that I didn't know a line actually came through here. Even though I've been back here multiple times, it is completely new to me. And we're climbing an elevation up here. So far, the only thing a scooter can't tackle is boulders, which is obviously understandable. Okay, we are at a big clearing here. Let me see if the line continued, which direction. Okay, so according to the map, it looks like it would have continued kind of straight in this direction. There's some storm clouds over there too. So this would take us right to Route 6. So it's going to go straight and then a little bit to the left. And let's see if we can get down there and check it out, see what it looks like. If not, we'll come up here to this clearing, which has looks like a nice view. Well, we have come as far as we can go. We hit Blacktop and a gate, and straight ahead of us is Meredith Street. The line would have continued across this area. Route 6 is beneath that. Meredith Street goes over it. So this is our stopping point. This is as far as we could go. The highway was basically built over the section that would have continued of the D&H. So at least we know officially, you know, how far we could go and where it did continue. Well, during my portion of the video crossing the creek there, I ended up having some spectators who ended up becoming subscribers. So if you guys happen to be watching, it's good to meet you, and thanks for subscribing. Now, we did come on one way following the entire D&H, which we already know about. But since we know it's not a great section of trail going back beyond this area, we're going to take a different way, which would be a little bit more scenic, hopefully a little bit more manageable, but it'll still take us in the same general area. It just won't be the old D&H line. So if you want to continue watching, we'll get some different views, and maybe we'll discover something new. Who knows? Well, the great thing about this scooter is if you ever get it muddy and dirty like I did, just go through a water crossing and you can clean it off. And we have another one right here. Well, this one we should be able to go through no problem. Oh yeah, that's a breeze. I have to be honest, I mentioned it before, I'll say it again. Documenting this section of D&H was not the easiest. It's one of the more difficult old rail line, rail bed sections I've ever documented. And it's a combination of things, like the excessive amounts of rain, which made the ground really muddy, saturated, a lot of ponding, a lot of tree roots. The most incredible thing that I had difficulty navigating was the boulders, just boulders everywhere. Far and few between good sections of the trail, except for when we got down towards the straightaway closer to Meredith Street. And even there are some big puddles, but at least we got to open up a little bit, not have to navigate so much mud and stuff like that. But as far as I know, we covered this entire branch line of what we're able to cover. Starting on the other end over there, where we started in our video, where we couldn't go any further, to all the way to Meredith Street by Route 6. We covered the whole entire section. And as far as I know, there's only one little detour that went around the actual rail bed itself. I think that's just due to the terrain. The only thing I'm hoping to figure out is if where I did the big creek crossing is if there was a bridge there, or if it's more likely a culvert system with just material and earth going right across it to keep it like a level grade. So if we don't find that out, no big deal, but that does ponder in my mind how that area was looking back in the day. And although this is just a branch line, it was responsible for hauling coal, and we know that just on the other side of the Route 6 was a pretty massive rail yard, and that it interconnected to different rail lines. There's multiple companies operating around here at different times. So without a doubt, I'm glad we got to cover another section of the D&H. Parts of it are rail trails, parts of it are still relatively untouched like this, and parts of it are mining roads as well, multi-use. So with that being said, this thing thoroughly impressed me. We put it through some rigorous testing. It was fully submerged, it's dirty, it's muddy, but still operating as it should. So I have hardly any complaints at all, except for the amount of boulders, which even if it's on an e-bike, I still have to navigate those as well. Wouldn't be as easy, but by far the best performing scooter ever. If you want to do stuff like I did, and you don't want to have an e-bike, something smaller, more capable, well, check this out. As I said, the link will be down below. And another section of abandoned rail line documented on my channel. So if you want to see more old rail lines I have covered, check the playlist down below. And I have more of them coming out this year, and especially more of them closer to fall and winter when the foliage is gone. So it is rather funny to me though that I didn't even know that branch line existed up until a few months ago when I was here for a different video. And I'm like, that looks like a rail bed. And thanks to the Rail Guide app, it confirmed it. Also, I mentioned before, but just in case you're new or haven't heard before, the Rail Guide app, as far as I know, is only available on Android devices. All you do is search the word Rail Guide. If you don't have Android, you can still access it on your computer. Just open up your browser window and search Rail Guide in Google search. It'll come up and you'll have the same access as I had documenting this line today. So hope that helps. And I'm losing my voice. Did a lot of talking today, did a lot of riding, had a lot of fun. And more importantly, I'm glad you decided to join me. So anyways, thanks so much for watching. As always, thanks for coming along. And until next time, I'll see you in the next video.